The morning rush at Mel's diner was the kind that hummed with comfort. The smell of sizzling bacon filled the air. The hiss of coffee machines blended with the soft chatter of early risers. At the corner booth sat an elderly man with silver hair, dressed in a worn army jacket. His name was Henry Walker, a decorated veteran who had once carried his nation on his back. At 78, his body was frail, but his posture still carried the quiet dignity of a soldier. Henry always came here for the same breakfast: black coffee, 2 scrambled eggs, and a slice of toast. He smiled at the waitress, thanked her twice, and never failed to leave a tip no matter how small. People who knew him admired his gentle spirit, but not everyone saw it that way. That morning, a young man swaggered into the diner with a loud laugh that turned heads. His name wasn't known, but his presence was instantly felt. Rough voice, restless energy, a chip on his shoulder the size of the world. He spotted Henry sitting quietly in his booth and smirked. "Look at this old man," he sneered, loud enough for everyone to hear, wearing that jacket like it still means something. Henry looked up, calm but firm. "It means everything," he replied softly, voice steady despite the insult. The bully laughed and strutted closer. "Everything? You're just another relic. Nobody cares what you did 50 years ago." His words cut through the room like glass. People shifted uncomfortably, but no one moved. Henry, still composed, simply took a sip of his coffee. The bully didn't like being ignored. With a sudden motion, he slapped the coffee mug out of Henry's hand, the hot liquid splattering across the table. The diner gasped. And then, without hesitation, he raised his hand and slapped Henry across the face. The sound echoed through the diner. Plates rattled. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Henry didn't strike back. He didn't even flinch. He looked the young man square in the eye and said only, "Son, one day you'll regret this." But before the bully could laugh again, the bell over the diner door jingled. A tall man in a dark suit walked in, his presence commanding immediate attention. He scanned the room, then froze when he saw Henry, his father. "Dad?" he said, striding over. The room went silent. The bully's smirk faded. People whispered. The tall man was Michael Walker, the head of Homeland Security, a name that carried weight across the nation. His arrival was no coincidence. He had arranged to meet his father for breakfast after weeks of overseas travel. Michael looked at Henry, saw the red mark on his cheek, and then turned to the bully. His voice was calm but sharp, like steel wrapped in velvet. "Did you just put your hands on my father?" The bully stammered, his bravado melting away. "I didn't know—" "You didn't know," Michael repeated, stepping closer, his eyes locked on him. "You didn't know this man fought for freedoms you take for granted. You didn't know he bled so cowards like you could live free. You didn't know he raised me, taught me honor, taught me courage, and that I now protect this entire nation." The diner was silent, every ear tuned to Michael's words. The bully's hands trembled. His arrogance was gone, replaced with fear and shame. Michael leaned in, his voice barely above a whisper, but powerful enough to pierce the man's soul. "You don't touch a veteran. Ever." The bully backed away, eyes darting for the exit, but Michael's steady gaze held him frozen. It wasn't anger that filled the air. It was reverence, the kind that made everyone realize they were in the presence of something larger than themselves. Then Michael turned back to his father. He reached out, gently helping him up from the booth. Henry smiled faintly, touched by his son's protective hand. "You didn't need to do all that," Henry murmured. Michael looked at him, voice breaking with emotion. "You've done enough for this country, Dad. Let me do the rest." The entire diner stood, some clapping softly, others with tears in their eyes. Strangers offered Henry a seat, fresh coffee, words of gratitude. For the first time that morning, Henry's quiet dignity was met with the respect it deserved. And as father and son sat side by side, the room was filled not with fear or anger, but with something far stronger: respect, gratitude, and the kind of unity that reminded everyone what truly mattered.